Welcome back to another episode of the We Grow Together podcast. I'm your host, Laura DiFrancesco, founder of Dean Street Law, Ethereal Farms, Flourish Co-working Space, author of my new book, Entrepreneurship Through Acquisition, a legal guide to buying a small business. So if you're an entrepreneur, check it out. Join our waitlist to get the first chapter and be on notice when it goes live. Would love your support on that. I'm excited today to be talking about how to pivot, when to know when to pivot, and overall navigating really significant change in your life. We've talked about seasonal changes. We've talked about annual planning. So if you want more on this, definitely go back to those. But this is going to be like those really sudden pivots in life. How are you going to do it? How are you going to plan for it? Tactically, emotionally, all the things. So let's chat more about specifically, when do you know that a pivot is necessary in life? And to me, this becomes super obvious. And I think partially it becomes super obvious because I'm a student of myself. I really pay attention to friction in my life, and it annoys the hell out of me. So when I go through life and something doesn't feel good, I'm immediately making changes. I don't like when I go through life and that doesn't feel good. I want immediate change to make it feel good, to be productive, to continue moving forward with my life in a way that is always getting better. That's my goal in life. So I make millions of small changes throughout my life on a yearly basis. I think on a daily basis, I'm probably making dozens of small pivots as well. And so what I think most people do is they get to the point where it's untenable. They can't stand it any longer. They haven't made change, and it's just accumulated to this point. They're miserable. They don't know what to do. It seems so hard. And believe me, there's still things in life where that can be the case, in my life as well. But I think the biggest thing is to begin by unlocking the micro pivot in your life, and that will make your life a billion times easier when it comes to those bigger pivots. First, it's going to get you well versed in it and helps you give practice so that when you have those super big pivots in life, they aren't going to take the wind out of your sails and throw you into this emotional roller coaster because you're so unused to change in your life. Personally, I'm a person that's all about evolution and growth and finding my rhythm and everything. So for me, micro pivots feel really good. But I know that there's a lot of people in my life who haven't made changes in a long time and love their routine and love their security in it. And I think to each their own, but I will say that if you are someone who loves your routine and doesn't make change often, it can be extremely challenging then when you do have a big pivot that needs to be made because you're not making those micro pivots. And I think sometimes, not all the time, I think that there's definitely, like, everybody likes vanilla and chocolate ice cream. So there's definitely some times where you are someone who has a routine and don't need change because you're content. I also think that there's a lot of people who override and try to convince themselves that they're okay and they don't need change when they in fact do. And I think that if they made little changes, that it wouldn't build up to be so big and major. And then also sometimes I think that people confuse what changes they need to make in their life because they don't want to confront the changes that they need. And that happens both ways. I think the easy way to think about it is, well, I am not making changes in my relationship that I need to make, and I'm stuck in my relationship. And then that means that I'm not having changes that are in my life because I'm confusing them, or I'm thinking I need to move, or I'm thinking I need a new job or a new dog or a new sport or a new hobby or a new friend, when really I just have a relationship. I think it's very easy to think that. I'm not going to lie, I have been someone that makes pivots in relationships too. So for a very, very long time, like, I hadn't even had a year-long relationship, or, maybe just 1 year-long relationship. James and I have been together for 7 years. God bless him. He is the most amazing human on earth. He's a sweet angel baby, and we love him in bits and pieces because, to me, even in relationships, I've been very clear, whether that's romantic relationships or friends. I've made a lot of pivots in my life very quickly, even in those situations. But I think a lot of times people can confuse it and say, like, it's the relationship that you're not changing. But I actually think that there's even more people that blame their relationship because they're not making other changes in their life. And it's easier to blame someone else than it is to face up to the fact that you're not making the changes in your own life that you need to make to be happy. And then you're blaming your unhappiness on your partner. I hate to spill the tea there, but I think that that happens way more than it happens the other way around. I think that people like to blame other people for their lack of happiness or lack of movement in their life, or, I can't do that because so-and-so, or I can't do that because of my kids, or I can't do that because of my relationship or my family, when really they can't do it because they've decided that they can't do it, and they've prioritized something that may not even be meaningful to any of these groups of people. And then they create resentment and blame because it's easier to blame someone else than it is to take ownership of their own life. And I am sorry to bring you the bearer of bad news, but the majority of the reason when you need a pivot or change in your life, it's not someone else's fault. It is your responsibility to make that change in your life so that you are happy and the best person that you can be, especially for the people that you love. That is one of the most important reasons, to be a good human for yourself, to be the best person that you can be for yourself, but especially to be the best person for your favorite people. And you deserve someone showing up to you with that care. They deserve someone showing up to them with that care. And so when you think of pivots that need to be made in life, if you're not feeling the friction in your own life that this change needs to be made, that's telling you that it needs to be made, that will continue to get louder, mistakes and issues that need to be changed in our lives continue to grow louder until they are addressed adequately. Not just addressed, but addressed adequately. And if you don't feel it in your own friction in your own life, I guarantee you that it will become friction in your relationship with others, maybe subconsciously, maybe as resentment, maybe as blame, maybe as fights, whatever it may be. It's going to come up in one way or another. You need to listen to it as soon as possible so that it doesn't become this big issue. And I oftentimes think that if you're taking care of yourself and pivoting in the way that you need, a lot of relationships can be very healthy. It's when relationships are like, well, I need to move to be happy, or I need to do this to be happy, when really they just need to confront little pivots in their life that they need to make to be happy. So ultimately for me, happiness is the measure, friction is the measure, confrontation is the measure if it needs to come to that, because the world will knock you over the head with a change that needs to be made in your life if you do not make it. So I would much rather learn that lesson through the gentle nudges of life than being whacked over the head. But sometimes you or me both need to get whacked over the head with change that needs to be made in life. The universe will tell us. It's a mirror of the things that we need to do in our life to make ourselves better. The number one question I'm asked is, how do I do all the things I do? So I put this into a course, a workbook, and a workshop where you can find all the little details about how I do this on a daily basis. And I've called it the Wild Ambition Lifestyle Design Course, Workbook, and Workshop. Transform your dreams into reality with guided vision setting, storyboarding, journaling, and all the tools I use to bring my dreams to life, with over 100 lessons, 200 plus pages of workbooks, and lifetime access so you can return to it whenever you need to. The course itself is that iterative process of how we continue to evolve over time to be the best version of ourselves. If you are an ambitious individual, if you want to make your dreams come true, I think you'll really love Wild Ambition, and I encourage you to check it out in the show notes. Start your journey today. Enroll now to dream and live with wild ambition. So I think that, sometimes people also feel like they are just stuck And maybe it's not so much friction, but it's lack of inspiration, it's lack of excitement. To me, those are really mini pivots that need to be made. These are super little things. Like if you're not feeling inspired, go for a run, go talk to someone, go enjoy some art. Like to me, that's like one activity. I think we over romanticize life sometimes. Like, I need to be inspired to get started, or I need to feel good, or I need to be disciplined. You know, life's going to feel up and down all the time. Life's going to be up and down and up and down. And then you get to decide, despite the ups and downs, that you're going to be someone. Despite the ups and downs, you're going to do something. It's like, it doesn't always have to be sunshine and roses to take action, to be happy. And I think actually that's like one of the most important things in the world is, and this is something that James is so good at reminding me when I go through my ups and downs, as we all do, because it's natural and we should. But like, he reminds me when I'm in my downs that it's okay to be happy on a hard day. And I love that about him because, you know, it's easy to feel the stress of life, especially when you have a lot on your shoulders, going through an accident, trying to keep 5 businesses afloat, trying to just do life, not being able to work out, not being able to do all the favorite things, being in pain, having migraines for months on end, like finding out that my brain nerves are severed. Like a lot has gone on, and I've definitely had my hard days. And you know, just yesterday, I was having a really hard day. It felt like there was so many people just like having it out for me. Not really, but like, just like life was not easy yesterday. And I love that he said to me, you can still have a great day. And it's true. You can still have a great day despite all the chaos and hell that's going on. You can still have a great day and be happy. And that's really important. You don't need to be inspired to be happy. You don't need to have everything going your way to be happy. You can just decide to enjoy yourself. And actually, I kind of find a really hilarious, sick humor in having a great day when everything is going to hell in a handbasket. And sorry, I feel like I'm saying hell so many times. But I think that there's something that is just like this spicy, fiery lion inside me that like when I'm thinking of smiling and having a good day, despite the fact that everything feels like it's in shambles and falling apart, I feel like I'm in one of those movies where the main character just, the end of the movie is something blowing up and they're just like walking away smiling. Like, it sounds crazy, but I genuinely feel like that when I'm smiling and having a good day despite the chaos that is erupting around me. I think all those things will tell you that it is time to make a change. Now, let's talk about making a change. I'm not in like a you need to make a change immediately type of person. I think it's okay and safe to take a long time to make a change. Like I said, when you are feeling these change, the best thing that you can do is just start making micro changes. Start making micro changes, micro pivots with what you feel comfortable with, and that will build your confidence to make those big changes that you need to make in your life. And save up and get that runway so that if you need to make a financial change, that you have the ability and the wherewithal to do it. I don't think that you have to make a change immediately. I think you can make a change when it suits you and make a change that feels good. It's always going to be a bit uncomfortable to make change. That's the whole part of growing. But it's like a hermit crab that grows its shell every time. It needs to get big enough that it's uncomfortable, and then go find a new home and be a little scared and a little bit nervous that it's unprotected by its shell when it's going to find a new home. And then grow big enough that it gets too big for its home, and then go find another one. So be a little hermit crab and make little changes in your life. Little changes will help you tremendously to feel good about the big changes in life. And don't confuse what in one area isn't working, that it's not working in another area. Get clarity, look inward, Don't just start making changes and making proclamations and saying that your relationship's not working or your life's not working or your career's not working when it could be something else. Be honest with yourself and take time to reflect. And then as soon as you find an easy friction to address, pivot. As soon as you find a change you can make, pivot, and then start making those little changes. And it'll also give you the strength and the wherewithal to make those bigger changes in life. I hope that this episode has been helpful. Be sure to subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, and let us know in a comment on social media what you'd like to hear about next. In addition, be sure to check out my new book, Entrepreneurship Through Acquisition, a legal guide to buying a small business. I am so excited to share it with you. And be sure to share us on social media, tag your friends, let them know about this podcast, let them know what you love about it. Thank you so much for supporting us. Cheers. We grow together.